are mainly 4 types of business entities in Taiwan: limited company, branch, limited company by shares, and representative office, or we usually call rep office. Usually small and medium-sized investors would choose limited company and branch because they are easy to set up for business in Taiwan. Let's walk through the requirements one by one. Capital. Based on the regulation, the minimum capital is 1 Taiwan dollars. And for the rep office, no need for capital. Generally, we will not suggest you really register a company with 1 Taiwan dollar for capital, because there is another rule mentioned that the capital should be able to cover the initial operating costs. Therefore, we usually suggest a little bit higher capital amount, like 200,000 Taiwan dollars. It's around 7,000 US dollars. Before you decide the capital amount, you also need to consider whether you need to apply for Taiwan work permit and long-term stay in Taiwan. If yes, you will need to set a higher capital, and we will discuss it later. Business scope. You need to decide the business activities before you start the incorporation process. If you want to do certain regulated business in Taiwan, such as travel agency, construction, or logistic company, you will need to apply for special license before start your business in Taiwan. And rep office is a different case. A rep office cannot do any sales activities in Taiwan, which means cannot generate any revenue. Based on our experience, some investors still choose the rep office because they will only do some market research in Taiwan or sign contract on behalf of the headquarters. Actually, the business scope is really important, and you need to decide in the very beginning, because different industry will be subject to different local regulations. For example, for drug and medical business, you will need to hire a full-time licensed pharmacist and join the local drug association. Different industry may subject to different regulation. Before you start the incorporation, you can discuss with your agent about the business scope, and we will provide a suggestion. Next, the minimum requirement is about the management members. For limited company, at least 1 individual or entity shareholder, at least 1 director. The shareholder can be the director. For branch, 1 representative is required. For limited company by shares, at least 1 individual or entity shareholder, at least 1 director. If there are 2 or more shareholders, 1 supervisor will be required. For rep office, only 1 representative is required. You may also wonder whether the representative or director need to stay in Taiwan. The answer is no need to stay in Taiwan. About the limited liability. For limited company and limited company by shares, shareholders are only responsible for the capital amount they invested. But for branch or rep office, the representative and headquarters are responsible for the whole obligation of the Taiwan entity. Okay. Next one is about the audit requirement. There are 2 kinds of audit: financial audit and tax audit in Taiwan. Usually, a small and medium-sized Taiwan entity do not require an audit until its capital, sales, or number of employees meet certain level. The corporate income tax rate in Taiwan is a fixed rate at 20% for all Taiwan entities. And about the business tax, Taiwan is using the VAT system, and the VAT rate is 5% in general. For rep office, because it does not have any sales, so not subject to VAT or income tax. Last one is about the withholding tax for dividend or profit distribution. If your Taiwan entity earns profit, the dividend paid to shareholders will be subject to 21% withholding tax for limited company and limited company by shares. It is a fixed rate. And for branch and rep office, there is no withholding tax. Here we choose the most common business type, limited company and branch, as the example so you can see the difference better. Registration form. A limited company is a separate entity from its investor, and a branch is an extension and not separate from its headquarters. About the company name. A limited company must include the words limited company in the end of company name. And for branch, it must include the words Taiwan branch in the end of branch name. The management member we already discussed before. A foreigner can be the shareholder and director and no need stay in Taiwan. Time frame. It will normally take 3 months to set up an entity in Taiwan. It is because a new bank account will be opened and the capital need to be transferred from investors' foreign bank account. The time frame here is just for general cases, and for cases if special license is required, the time usually will be longer, depends on the additional document to be prepared. And about the investor liability, limited company's shareholder is liable for the capital amount they invested, but a branch need to bear the unlimited liability. Dividend distributed by a limited company will be subject to 21% withholding tax. And for branch, there is no withholding tax.